All right, I think, oops, let me make sure this is muted. Hopefully that was muted earlier. Okay, otherwise I was gonna get an echo. Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome on in. I think I have the settings right, so I'm not getting a weird echo. The morning class didn't say anything about an echo, so I probably had it right. Okay, so welcome on in. We're here for what's the official name? Intermediate Algebra Healthcare. No, it's called. That's weird. The course outline is called one thing. We're here for basically we're going to learn algebra and then we're going to learn how to apply it to nursing. Right, is what we're going to be looking at. So, good job. Looks like we have a lot of people showing up. That's great. There are two different ways to consume our meetings. You can do it through Zoom. You can do it through YouTube. It doesn't matter which one, right? There's kind of pros and cons to each one. The interaction, if we're going to have a discussion back and forth, it's a little easier in Zoom, but the visuals aren't as good. So as you can see, if you're in Zoom, you just see the green wall behind me, the green screen basically, but it's a wall. If you're on the YouTube stream, you'll see the actual things I'm trying to show you. So the visuals are good there. You can look at whichever one you want. I have a lot of students that have both up in different tabs. The only thing is if you're going to have both up, you should mute one of them because the audio is off by a few seconds and you're going to get some kind of like weird echo. It's going to sound weird and annoying. So you'll just want to mute one of them. So other than that, if you just want to watch the YouTube stream, do that. If you just want to be in Zoom, do that. If you want to do a combination of both, that's fine. Just mute one of them. You know, students do it different ways. Nice thing about the YouTube stream, one, you get the visuals, but also it's automatically archived. So if you need to go back and watch for something later, you can just go in and watch it again. There'll actually be a playlist specifically for this class, so you don't have to look through all my classes. You'll just find your class and then go to the video that you want to rewatch again. Do be aware I have two sections of this same course. So if you're going to go watch one, make sure you're watching this course because my other course is hybrid. This class is the totally online one, right? Yeah. The class that I teach on Tuesdays is hybrid, which means it has some on ground, which means the videos aren't going to be the same because I have to run the two classes differently. So if you go watch it on there, on YouTube, make sure you're watching the one for your class that makes sense. All you have to do, in the title of the YouTube video will be the date and time. So basically, don't watch a video for a date that your class doesn't meet, right? I've had students do that in the past where they're watching like, you know, they attend a Monday, Wednesday class, and then they find out later they're watching a Tuesday, Thursday class because the classes are not always identical. They, you know, sometimes a class gets a little ahead of another one or something like that. So just make sure you're watching the right one. And then they're closed captioned automatically, which is nice. So for anyone who needs closed captioning, that will be available to you usually within 1 or 2 hours, sometimes real fast, but depends on how much traffic they're getting. Can be 1 to 2 hours from when the video was made. Closed captions will pop up in it. So if that's a thing that you need, they will be there for you. But if you need that, you probably know that YouTube already has that feature automatically. So so that's where we're at with that. This is my first time teaching this exact course. I have taught other courses that covered similar stuff, right? I've covered a biology calculus class where a lot of the class was nursing and, you know, medications and stuff like that. But I'm a little new at this. So you may see a few times where I'm like trying to figure stuff out. I'll talk about the textbooks in just a minute where I'm currently trying to fix a situation with the textbooks right now. So you'll have to forgive me a few things here and there. The first time we teach a course, it's like trying to, you know, walk upstream. There's a lot of things. And then later it's easier because you just copy the course over. But when you're first setting things up, like I'll explain with the textbook ISBNs in a minute, can be kind of complicated. So you'll have to occasionally forgive me if it takes me a minute to figure out exactly how to set something up for this course. And it may be, you know, some of you probably have more nursing experience than I do because I have very little nursing experience. So there may be terms occasionally that come up and you can like, I'll be looking them up and trying to understand them, but there might be times when you can like explain a nursing concept to me. I'll know the mathematics, but sometimes I might have a question about how is it that the med people do this, like, or something like that, and we'll all get there together. Okay. So I'm confident we can do a great job with this class. Everyone will do fine. I've taught algebra a million times, and we'll sort of make it all go together. From what I've seen, the math we do for the nursing part of the class is, it's your algebra type stuff. So we're not talking about, extremely complicated mathematics that we're going to be getting into in here. You're talking percentages, you're talking ratios, a little bit of logarithms and exponentials and some stuff like that. But for the most part, not terribly bad. So again, welcome everybody. So apparently people were able to find the link to get in here. Looks like we have quite a few people in Zoom, quite a few people in YouTube. That's great. In just a few minutes, I'm going to give people a couple more minutes to kind of, come on in, find the links, get to class. I will take roll in a few minutes. So if you're here, don't leave and go, I'll just watch it later. I do have to keep roll. And in the next few weeks, I do have to drop people that are not participating. I'll go over that more in a few minutes, but it's one of the parts of our contract they take very seriously because of the way funding works, is I have to drop people who are either not attending class or not doing the homework or basically not on track to complete the course successfully. I have to drop you in a few weeks. It's called census for us professors. It's called the census date, and the state of California needs us to have dropped anyone who is not attending or not participating at that point, because the state of California doesn't want to pay for students that aren't showing up, right? So it's important. Okay, there's a good question. Yes, I'm going to talk about textbooks because, so someone's asking me and someone DM'd me. I'm going to talk about textbooks because there seems to have been a mistake in the bookstore. So we'll address that and we'll get everyone taken care of. So even if you don't panic or, get anxiety if you think, oh, I paid too much and now I wasted money, we'll get it squared away if that is a big if, a mistake was made and someone purchased too much. We'll talk about that specifically in just a few minutes. We'll get to that. So that's a good question, but we will definitely cover all of that. Okay, at this point, I think I can take roll. So here's the deal with roll. I have to take roll for two reasons. One, each semester that's gone by during us being online, students are showing up to class less and less, right? And part of this is sort of you make things nice for students, and then sometimes they go, well, why am I showing up live if I can just watch it on YouTube later? But it creates a bit of a problem. So basically, you need to be showing up to the actual classes. I have to take roll. So what was happening is each semester that would go by, less and less people would show up to the actual Zoom meeting. And I get it. It's hard. I had to work my way through college. I waited tables for years to pay for tuition and books and all that kind of stuff. I get it. It's rough. And it's even more expensive now. It's hard. Right? So I get it. Like being a student is not easy, right? When the generations before me, school wasn't too bad. You could work, in 2 weeks, you could make enough money to pay for your whole tuition and books and all that kind of stuff. I didn't have it. College prices were already skyrocketing when I went, and that was a while ago. So it's even worse now. So I get it. Almost all students have to work now because it's so expensive to go to college. Many of you have families. That is, you either are taking care of your parents or you're taking care of your kids, or you have obligations. Like, I get it. It's hard, but it's really important that we show up to these meetings. More and more students are like, well, I'll just watch it later. But there's research that show, first of all, some students who say they're going to watch the videos later don't. You sort of fool yourself. I'll just watch it later. I'm going to go to the beach with my friends. I'll watch the video later, and then you don't watch the video later, and then there's that difficulty. But there's also even just research has shown that watching a video that isn't happening live you retain less, right? It sounds weird. Well, I'm watching the same video. What's the difference? But what they're showing is your brain treats it differently because it's knowing that you should be alert because something's happening live versus knowing that it's happened later. So they've done work where they'll videotape a teacher teaching, and then they'll have those group of students take a quiz, and then they'll show that same exact video at a later date to some students who aren't there live, and they have those students take the quiz. The students in the latter group don't do as well, which sounds weird. We're both watching the same video, but the way your brain treats it is different. So being live in the meeting means you will do better on average than if you wait and you watch it or don't watch it at a later date. So it's really important that we show up here for the pass rates, because the truth is the school wants high pass rates in these classes, and you want high pass rates in these classes, right? None of you wants to be in this class again. And the truth is no one at the college wants you to be in this class again. We want you to succeed. You want to succeed. So part of my job is to make the decisions that are going to create the best success rate for students, that we're going to pass people, and I have to pass you based on knowledge. You earned your pass, but I have to set things up so that the most number of you will be able to complete that successfully and pass. And so part of that is taking roll and making sure that people are actually attending. The other part of it is, like I say, I have that census date. Part of my contract is, I have to be able to defend who I did and who I did not drop before that census date. So I just mentioned how expensive college tuition is. The truth is your college tuition only covers a small fraction of what it takes to educate you, right? If you sort of think about it, like the tuition doesn't even cover faculty salaries, let alone the entire school functioning. The state picks up the rest of that, right? This is why it's important when you vote and you decide if, how taxes should be spent, because it determines, the cost of education. The state of California gives us money to run the school, but because of that, they want us dropping people who are not attending class, people who are not doing homework. I have to do that in a few weeks. So I have to take roll. Anyone who's not attending, administration says I have to drop. Anyone who's not doing homework, I have to drop. So make sure you're attending. Make sure you're doing homework. If something happens and you can't make it to class, like you get COVID or something like that, make sure you contact me, right? Because if it looks legitimate, like, okay, this, if you've missed a month of work, then we'll have to see if it's because of COVID or whatever. But if you miss one time and you say, sorry, I missed class, I had COVID this week. Okay. That's reasonable. But, so, I don't want to drop anyone that I don't have to, but it's one of the things that I have to do as part of my contract. I have to go through and drop people. So I'm going to take roll here. Do make sure you're showing up regularly so that we can assure that you're going to successfully complete. Now, since this is going on a YouTube stream, I'm not going to use people's last names. I'll use your first name and the last letter, the first letter of your last name, right? So for me, I would say Chris F, because my last name starts with an F. I think I can get a bunch of you just from the list here. And then, so I'll see what I can get, and then anyone who's missing, I will, I'll call out here. So let's see, we got, okay, there. So, also, if your name is something, looks like most people's names are identifiable. If your name in Zoom here is something different than, like if it doesn't have a last name or something, just throw your name into chat so I can see that you're here. If your name is right under that participants list, then I'll just get you. But like if you don't have a last name or something, put it in chat, your first and last name, so I can see that you're here. Let's see. So we've got okay. Like for instance, Allison in Zoom. So a person showing up as Allison and person showing up as Liz. If you could just write your first and last name in chat, then I can see who you are on the roll. I would appreciate that. Okay, we got, yes. What and so what was that? What was your last name?
Liz R.
Oh, R. Okay.
And you want me to put my full last name or no?
That's okay. I think I should be able to get it from if it's an R. Is it Elizabeth?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I gotcha. Elizabeth R. Gotcha.
Thank you.
Allison F. Okay. And Liz R. Okay, good. And then let me just go back here. I kind of hate taking roll because it takes so much time, but it's unfortunately a thing we got to do. Um, sure. Sorry, Craig. Craig Haynes. Um,
Yes.
so which name would be on my roll?
It should be Starla Hennis.
That should be on. Okay, that's the one. Are you on the wait list or are you in the class? Let's see.
I'm on your wait list.
Oh, okay. That's why. Okay. So, and I will, if I forget after taking roll, remind me to mention waitlist because I need to talk about that.
Okay.
So I'll try to remember. Thanks. Let me get back to. Okay. We got Aaron Gill. Sorry this is taking so long, but I got a couple names not matching up right. Let's see. Aaron Gill, are you under a different name?
It may be under Fabian.
Under Fabian?
Well, for the class now, it's under Aaron.
Aaron, but then last name Gill? G-I.
Unless it's Lanzarote. It should be under
Oh,
Fabian.
it's Lanzarote, right. Okay, so I just have to make sure I'm checking a box here for your, just so I can identify who it is. So
Here.
um, if you if you change that with the school, they can sort of update that, and I can update it on my roster. Let's see. So you prefer to go by Gil?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll make a note, but it'll keep showing up on as the other name, unfortunately. Okay.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, and was there anyone on the YouTube stream that's not in Zoom? If so, just put your first name followed by like the first letter of your last name. And otherwise, let's see. Still missing quite a few people actually. So let's see. If you're here in either of these streams, let me know. Jackie A, Elicio Bonilla, Nicole D. Oh, sorry, I said the whole name. Sorry about that. Nicole D, James H, Asia J. Oh, it looks like we do have a few here. Okay. Let's see. Darnell.
I got in.
Okay, that helps. So I got a few more. So I'm still missing Jackie A, Elicio Bonilla, Nicole D, Whitney H, Asia J, Crystal M, Brian M, Tanya O, Itzel O. Let's see. There's a few names. There's 4 names. It's always hard to tell when they do it this way, which is the last name. Anyways, Itzel, I don't have you. Rochelle P, Jennifer R, and Janae, I think. Janae R, with an apostrophe in Janae. If any of you are here and I missed you, make sure you say something in chat so I mark you as being here, because I don't want to drop anybody who showed up. Okay? So thanks. Sorry that took forever, but I got to... Oh, somebody's here. Let's see. What do we got? We got... Tanya O. Okay, great. We got Tanya. Okay. And then there we go. Okay. I think I got everybody then. Great. So, like I say, I have to be really careful. I have to have really good records, especially up until census, because if I drop someone, I have to be able to say why I dropped them. And if I don't drop someone, I also have to be able to say why I didn't drop them. So I have to have really, really solid records until then. No, I think I got, let's see. Alan, I got you. You're good. I got you as here. So, and then, yeah, I got, is it Grisha? Is that how you say it? I got you as well. So I think we're good. Yeah. Okay. So, there's people on the wait list who I'm sure are wondering if they're going to get in the class. So the last I saw, so there's a couple reasons why I don't plan on giving out ad codes. 2 big reasons. There's 2 good reasons. One is the wait list. I know some people kind of view the wait list as something other than it is. Some people view the wait list. Oh, Itzel's here. Where was that? With an O? There we go. Okay. All right. I got you, Itzel. Thanks. Or is that how you say it? Feel free to correct my pronunciation politely, please, but I'll try to get names right if I can get that pronunciation right. So yeah, Jasmine, I got you. or Jazelyn, sorry. Jazelyn, I got you. Right. So a couple reasons why I don't plan on giving out ad codes. I know some people think of the ad code as just like it's an extra 5 spaces, but it's actually not. Otherwise, we would just cap the class with an extra 5 spaces. The way the wait list really is as a buffer, so that people who so the way it will work in the next, I forget if it's week or 2 weeks, but if someone drops this class, like say today, someone's like, oh, I don't like the way this class is going, I'm going to drop it. If you're number 1 on the wait list, you just automatically move into the course. You take that open spot. So someone goes today after class, drops the class, you're number 1 on the wait list, the computer will just move you in there. Now, a couple things about that. One, if it moves you into the course, you have to pay immediately. It gives you, I forget if it's 24 or 48 hours or what it is, but it's fast. And if you don't pay, they drop you from the course and you don't go back to the wait list, you're just not on there at all. So you totally lose your place in line. So those of you who are high on the wait list and are going to stick around on the wait list, watch to see if you move into the course, because if you do, you have to pay soon, like basically as soon as you can. Let's see, another person here. Let's see. Okay, Brian M, I gotcha. Okay. So watch out for that. But I know in some courses, people or some students think, oh, if I'm on the wait list, I'm definitely going to get an ad code. That's not the case, especially in mathematics. What we found is every person that's added to a class dilutes the amount of attention that I can give to the students that are there, right? Think of an extreme case. If I had a class with 10 students, I could give each student a lot of attention. If I had a class of 200 students, I basically would have no idea who anybody is the entire semester, right? And it'd be like brand new people every day because I wouldn't know anybody. And the reality is, for a math class, research is showing that 40 is already a lot of people to have in a math class. That's pretty difficult for someone to really be able to give individualized attention or, really be able to give attention to students. Every student we add past 30, some research says 25, but we're already at 40, which means we're already kind of diluting the amount of attention we can give to everyone. So going past that is not really helpful to the students that are in the class. There are 2 sections that I believe have quite a few spaces in them of this same class. In fact, I have one that is a Tuesday class. Now, it is not completely online, so I realize that might not work for everyone. But I do have a Tuesday class that has open spots, and there is another class that has open spots as well. So, and I don't remember the mode of that or anything. Let's take a look, I guess. Let's go ahead and look. So we go spring 2022. Let's go M. Go to Math, Ventura College, search. We're looking for Math 35. So this section is full. You can see 0 seats. I have a class that has 20 seats available in it. That meets on Tuesdays. And that will meet, let's see, that one's on ground, I think, right? Is that one? Yep. That one will be, once we go back to campus, which will be in a few weeks, this class won't. This is an online class. But the other classes, my other V35 class, that's this class, Intermediate Algebra and Applications for Healthcare Personnel, that's what it's called. That meets on Tuesdays from 1 to 3:15. And there is a 2-day-a-week class that looks like it's on ground, taught by Karen Wild. And she has seats. She has a bunch of seats available in her class. So I realize people choose this class because it's online. That's not necessarily always a great choice. I know a lot of students want online classes for a variety of reasons. But for math classes, it also generally results in lower pass rates. So might be a good idea. Some of you might be better off in an on-ground class. I realize it's more inconvenient, but it might work better for you to do that. So that those seats are available to you. So if you're on the wait list, you can decide if you just want to register for one of these classes and then get a guaranteed spot, or wait to see if a class or a spot opens up in this class. I kind of doubt that 5 spots would open up. So if you're lower on the wait list, you're probably not going to get into the course. If you're number 1 or 2, it's a gamble, right? Students always ask me, is someone going to drop? Like, I don't know. There's 40 people that I've never met before in this class, and they're going to decide this week if they're going to drop or not. And there's a variety of reasons people drop. Sometimes people just realize, I've taken way too many units. This isn't good. And then they drop a class. I've had classes where no one drops. So I have no way of knowing if a spot will open up in the course or not, but I don't plan on giving out ad codes. The ad codes take effect next week. We don't even get ad codes until next week. I think it's next week or the second week. I don't remember. Second or third week. I don't remember. But I don't plan on giving any out because we're already at capacity, right? And you can make the decision about whether you want to stick around and stay on the wait list and hope a spot opens up, or sign up for one of the other classes that's going to meet. So that's up to you as far as how that's going to work, or as far as what decision you want to make for that, right? Okay, so I think we got through all of that. Right. Okay, and I will have to keep taking roll each time we meet. Now, there's a weird thing where so as you know, Ventura College is currently all remote. So even on-ground classes for the next 2 weeks will be taking place online. We're not sure how long that's continuing. So all my classes right now are having Zoom meetings, whether they were supposed to be meeting in a classroom or like this, where they were just designed from the beginning to be online classes. Okay. But what they told us this week is that they don't want our Zoom meetings going for longer than 90 minutes but they didn't really tell us about the classes that are actually online, like this class, if it includes that. So I have to get verification on how they want to handle that. Today, I'll try to stop around the 90-minute mark because that's what they told us to do. Sometimes they give us instructions and they say, go do this. And then we go, well, wait a minute, what about this? And then it takes some time to give us an answer to that question. So we'll be ending around 90 minutes today. Doesn't mean we always will. We have to get the feedback from what they want us to do about that. Okay, so let's see. Let's go back to, let me close that so I don't expose emails. Let's go in here. Okay, so we have the module. Most of you saw the announcement, or really all of you if you got here because you found the links to the class meetings. Some of you pointed out that I had a typo in the class meetings part where I had originally said this was Monday and Tuesday. Since this is my first time teaching this class, I'm building all of these from scratch, and I just had a typo in there. It said Mondays and Tuesdays. Those of you who emailed me, thanks for pointing that out so I could fix it. You are correct. This class only happens Mondays. I'm not allowed to make mandatory class meetings that were not in the schedule when the class was there. And I wouldn't want to do that anyways. But so it was just a typo that it said Tuesdays. So you don't, like, it's fixed now. As you can see, it just says Mondays. And that's what we're supposed to do. Okay, so if you're confused about that, I cleaned it up thanks to the help from a couple students who pointed it out to me about those class meetings. Again, the courses will be, they close caption automatically. So if you need closed captioning, they'll be there. And then what I do is each of my classes, I put in a playlist. So your course will have a playlist of these meetings, the YouTube stream, and then you can go back and watch them later if you need to. Okay. Just, again, make sure you're not watching my Tuesday class because that class will work a little bit differently. We then have some things there's the actual syllabus, which I'll be going over. And then we have the spring 2022 COVID practices, which I'm going to point out. The administration told us to post these in all classes. Even though this is an online class, many of you will not be going to campus at all. But the school wants you aware of COVID practices when we're there. So the school's taking this seriously. I'm taking the COVID stuff seriously, and these are the ways we're supposed to act. So if you want to know what the protocols are, say you're going to go to the bookstore, or say you're going to go to the tutoring center, or I think at the moment all tutoring is online, but in 2 weeks it may not be. You can figure out the protocol for going there. Basically, you have to have your vaccines. And the school has to know. So in your app, the VCCCD app, there's a part where you take a picture of your vaccine card and upload it, and then they verify that it's legit, and then they change your status at the school so that way, because otherwise you can't even come on campus. And then when you get to school, you have to do the daily screening in the app. It'll ask you some questions. Are you sick? Do you have any of these symptoms? No. Assuming you're not have any symptoms. No. Okay, have you been exposed to anyone known to have COVID? No. And it gives you a little pass card on there. That doesn't get you around school. You have to go to one of the screening places, and they'll give you a wristband. And the wristband changes color each day. So if you're on campus and you're not wearing the right color wristband, that means you didn't go through screening. You will be told to leave. If I'm a teacher in the classroom and you're not wearing a wristband, I got to tell you to leave. Like I say, this is an online course, but if you're going to campus, just be aware of how that's working. Also know that nobody on the campus has the ability to change any of these rules. Like, I agree with these rules personally, but I have to follow them. I don't have a choice. So if you have issues with the way that the COVID protocols are going, don't take it up with any school employees because they can't do anything about it. If you don't like it, go to the board meetings, because the board makes these decisions. Go to the board meetings and tell them you don't like it. Those are the only people who can do anything about it. Not we have people telling professors that, they have their own ideas about vaccines and stuff like that. The teacher can't do anything about it. But we have to follow these. So just be aware of that if you sort of don't like it, okay? So just you can be aware of that if you plan to go on campus for whatever reason. But then we have the syllabus, which is more about what we need to discuss for this class specifically. Here. So here is our syllabus. If you have any questions, you can come check this at any time. We've got Intermediate Algebra and Applications for Healthcare Personnel. That's the full name. I knew the one on my roll didn't look right because they were cutting off part of the title here. Spring 2022. I'm Dr. Frederick. So like I say, I have not taught this class specifically, but I've taught very similar classes where you get into, you're dealing with dosages and medications and stuff like that. So I'm confident that we'll get through everything in one piece. My office is in the Science Building 237. So if you're in the parking lot, obviously I don't plan to be there for the next few weeks, but at some point I'll be back on campus because I do have classes that are supposed to be at least partially on ground. So if you want to come by my office and see me for office hours, you can do that once we're back. And just so you know, we are online for at least 2 weeks, right? But again, we don't know how long that's really going to be. There's already talk about that maybe being extended. They're kind of waiting to see how this Omicron falls out. Some of the experts think that Omicron's the outbreak right now should hopefully actually decrease faster than Delta and the other outbreaks that we've had. Hopefully that will be true, but we don't know until we're actually doing things. The college is likely to follow step with whatever. They're not guaranteed to do this, but in general, they're probably going to follow step with whatever the UCs and CSUs do. So if you hear that the UCs are extending their social distancing online procedures by a couple more weeks, it's reasonable to think we might follow suit and do the same thing, right? But no one really knows. Watch your emails if you plan on coming on campus and all that kind of stuff. Oh, also, the west parking lot is the one where they have the market. I forget the official name for it, but they have that market on the weekends where you can go buy stuff. That part of the science building that's right near that parking lot, that's where my office is located. It's a weird building. It's numbered weird. It's a strange building for lots of reasons. So people get lost in it and they literally don't know where, they can't find rooms. I'm in the part of the building that's right next to that parking lot where the market is, if you're trying to find me. Okay. My email is on here. I sometimes have students go, "Oh, I've been emailing you and you never get back to me." And it's usually because they've spelled my name wrong. So Frederick has 2 E's. Also, don't put an S on the end or an SON. A lot of people seem to think my name is Fredericks or Fredrickson. It's neither one of those. It's Frederick. So just spell it correctly, and then I'll get your email and I'll try to get back to you. So be careful with that. You can just sort of copy paste here if you want. However, like an email's fine. If you want to email me, you're certainly welcome to email me. I do prefer that you message me through Canvas if you can. The reason for that is many students don't tell me what class they're in when they email me. So then it takes me about 5 minutes just to figure out what class they're in. If you email me in Canvas, it tells me what class you're in. And that, you might go, oh, 5 minutes to figure out what class I'm in. That's not a big deal, right? But if there's 20 of you, and I have to figure 5 minutes for each of you to check my roles and figure out what class you're in, now all of a sudden we're talking about hours, right? And that's hours that I'm not doing other things to help you in the course. So please message me through Canvas. That's the best way to do it. If you really want to send me an email, just give me the information I need. I'm in your Monday Math for Meds class. I was working on this homework 2.3, and I don't understand how to do this problem. Then I know exactly what you need, and I can help you out. The more information you give me, the better help I can give you, right? I get emails where students are like, I don't understand quadratic equations. Well, that's like a whole chapter. I don't know what you need. So give me that information in your message, and I'm more likely to be able to help you, okay? Also, you can come to office hours for the next couple weeks at least. My office hours will be on Zoom. Please come to those. Come to those. Ask me questions. I'll help you. That's what office hours are for, is literally for you to come ask me questions. So do that, and I will help you out because, again, everyone wants you to succeed. You want to succeed. The school wants you to succeed. Asking questions, especially what we're seeing is when we're online, less and less people are going to tutoring, less and less people are going to office hours. And those are two things that in the math class are critical for success. So if you feel like you're starting to have difficulty, get my attention and get help. Come ask me questions. Let's figure out what I can do for you. Okay? My office hours are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday from 9 to 10. I do have classes that start at 10, so don't come at like 9:55 with some questions because I probably am about to go to class. But, if you come a little bit earlier, I'm happy to answer any questions for you. I also have office hours on Monday and Tuesday from 12 to 1. So that's actually right before this class. So if you have questions and you show up like 15 minutes early, then I can probably help you at least, until we're about 5 minutes before class starts. Then I have to set up all the software and open OBS, the streaming software, and get everything all set up. But that's usually pretty easy when people can talk to me right before class. So please feel free to do that. Your final exam. So we're in this. You go, why are you giving me a link for the final exam? So we are required to put the final exam time in our syllabus, but the school has moved to a model where they don't release the final exam schedule until halfway through the semester. So it's kind of weird. We're required to put information in the syllabus that they don't give us until 2 months after we make our syllabus. So basically, I've given you a link to where the final exam information will be when they release it. So you can just go there and find out when and where it is, basically. Right, and we'll bring this up again later in the semester. I'll probably mention it once they release that information, once I've figured out that they release it. But in the meantime, you can go there and you can, if you forget or whatever, you can go look it up. So that you just copy paste this link and you'll be good to go. Okay, then we have stuff we're required to put in the syllabus, but it probably doesn't mean too much to you because if you knew what all this stuff meant, then you wouldn't need to take the class, right? That's kind of the whole point, is you don't know what all these words mean and you don't know how to do these kinds of things. This is largely in here. Like, say you go to another school, you transfer to finish off your, my understanding is we have a very good nursing program here at VC, but let's just say that for whatever reason you go to a different school. If you go to Channel Islands or you go to UCSB or something like that, they know who Ventura College is. But if you go to a school in rural Minnesota, they don't know who Ventura College is or what we teach in our Math for Meds class. The Math for Meds is the name of the book, so I keep calling it that. It's technically Intermediate Algebra and Applications for Healthcare Personnel, which is just kind of long to say. they're not going to know what we teach. So if you show this syllabus at that school, they may go, oh yeah, I see. They teach the same things we do, and then they decide to give you credit for the course. Otherwise, they might say, nah, this doesn't really match our course. You got to take it again. That's just part of transferring. It's a pain. I had classes that they accepted and classes that they didn't. So it's one of those things when you transfer, right? And sometimes these things change. When I first transferred to university, they're like, oh, we're not taking this history class. Sorry, you got to take it again. And I checked back a year later, and they're like, oh, we take it now. You're good. So it's just how the things work. The state's actually working to streamline things so that if you go anywhere in the state, schools will understand better what you took, but that's still in the works. Grades. So basically, your grade's going to be half homework, half exams, right? So it's really important that you do homework. Like, two of the biggest things you can do: show up to class, do the homework. If you do those things, you're probably going to pass the class and probably do well, right? I know sometimes I don't know what it's like at this school. I know when I had some friends in the nursing program when I was going to school in Sacramento, and the nursing program was really competitive, so everyone was always trying to get really good grades. I don't know how that works here at VC, but from what I've heard, this is a class where people tend to work pretty hard on stuff, so that's great to hear. So that's good. Just do your homework. Do as much of the homework as you can. The way these homeworks are set up, you should be able to have your homework grade up in the 90s. If you really want to do well, you can get I've seen students get their homework to 100%, but you should be trying to have homework that's up in the 90s. Okay, I've had students that they do homework in like the 40s and 50s, and they kind of go, well, I'll just do extra good on exams. But the reality of a math class, right? I'm a math professor. I deal with hundreds and hundreds of students a year, thousands of students over my career. Students who don't do the homework don't do well on exams. They fail exams, and then you fail the class. So please do your homework. What we don't see are students who have 95s on their homework and then fail exams. That doesn't happen, right? It doesn't happen. You might get a lower grade on exams than you get on your homework, but generally not failing, right? When I look over stuff, I don't see students who have their homeworks in the 90s and then I give them a D for the class because they do well on tests because they've done all their homework. So I have this extra condition in here that says, and to earn a C in the class, you have to have at least 70% homework. So it's not just how the numbers come out. It's a requirement of the course that the bare minimum amount of homework you can do is 70%. Okay? You should be trying to have your homework in the 90s, but 70s like the bottom cutoff. So even if your grade is like a 70% in the class, but your homework grade is a 60, you don't get a C. Okay, it's a requirement for you to be doing the homework. And I imagine, since most of you know at least the second portion of this class you'll be using in your career, I imagine what I heard is true, which is you probably will be pretty motivated to do that well, right? It makes sense. This is probably, like I say, first time teaching it. For when I've talked to people who have taught it, this isn't one of those classes where people are like, when am I ever going to use dosages as a nurse? Like, it's pretty clear you're going to need to know how to do dosages. So I imagine it makes sense that you'd be fairly motivated to learn to do that correctly so that you're good at your job, right? Most nurses that I've met take pride in their job and want to do a good job. So I imagine that's going to translate to wanting to learn that material well, right? So that you're good at what you're doing. So make sure you're doing the homework. Do well on exams. I don't try to make crazy hard exams, or I don't try to trick you on exams. The exam is just for me to see if you learned the material that I needed you to learn. That's all it is. So you're not going to see surprises. I know some people take a lot of pride in, I have really hard exams, and like it's like a point of pride for them that students fail their exams. I think that's weird. The types of problems that you will see on tests are the types of problems that you see on the homework. They're the types of problems we've talked about in class. They're the types of problems we've had discussions about. So no surprises, nothing weird. If you show up to class, if you do the homework, you should be able to do the tests. You should be fine. Okay? Homework. Okay, so now we're to like the textbook homework situation. So the homework will be done online. part of it. So the course really is broken up into two pieces. You have the algebra component. So we go through and basically learn the algebra. If any of you took Math 3, we learn a lot of that algebra. So if you took Math 3, that part's probably going to be pretty straightforward for you. If you took Math 1, then you saw some of this. So like beginning algebra, you saw a little bit of the material. If you took intermediate algebra, you saw a lot more of the material. That's the first half of the course, is the algebra. Second half of the course is the meds part, where we're taking the things we learned and applying them to the, nursing, healthcare, medication type situations. Okay, so it's almost like we're going to have a class in two parts. The first half algebra, second half healthcare. Okay, the first half, the strictly algebra homework, you don't have to buy anything for. That's going to be online, but it's through a program called Delta Math, where I pay a fee each semester. Actually, each year I pay a fee, and then my students get to use it for free. So that part will be free. So let's see. Let me go back in here. Where are we? If I go out of this and I go to homework, you see I've got a link here. And you can literally sign up for it right now. If you click this link, so I'll just click it. It's taking us to Delta Math. And notice how it's got the course code already entered in there for you. It says, oh, this is Dr. Frederick, Math for Meds, Algebra. Again, it's Math for Meds because that's the book we're using for the second half of the course. It's called Math for Meds. And then you can either register with, let's see if I can get this to come up a little. You can either register with your email account, or you can register with Google, whichever way you're comfortable with. I just make sure that the name I see is the name that matches your role. Okay, we already kind of saw that some names don't match up. That makes it really hard for me at the end of the semester when I'm trying to assign grades and I have work for a student with one name, but then the school's name for you is different. Then I don't know. I can't match up the grade with the person. So what you'll want to do is either update your name with the school so that when I go to give a grade, I see the right name, or use a different name in Delta Math. Right? You do it whatever way makes you comfortable. I'm not trying to tell you what name you should go by or anything like that, but I have to have names that match so that I can take the name you did the work under and match it to the name I'm supposed to apply a grade to. Okay? That's a difficulty that I run into sometimes at the end of the semester. So please do it in a way where I'll know who to give the grade to, right? Whatever. And people have lots of reasons why they change their name, and that's none of my business. You go by the name that works for you, but do one. Either fix your name with the school or make it so that I can see the right one on here. I have to match them, okay? All right, so that's what we'll be doing for the algebra. If you sign up for that, you won't see any homework assignments yet. I'll be filling it with homework assignments probably tomorrow. That's on my list of things to get to tomorrow, and we'll fill out I can probably get most of the assignments for the semester in there. I have them in there. I just have to drag them into the class and put them in there. So that's how you're going to do that. That one's easy. It's free, and it's all good to go. Now, in a couple of months, we're going to get to the second half, which is that Math for Meds, which some of you have already purchased. And I figured out today the bookstore had a mistake in there, which I probably shouldn't. I don't know if there's any information in there. So they somehow had two versions of the homework that I wanted you to purchase. They had two versions of it up there. So you'll have a choice. If you haven't bought it through the bookstore yet, then probably like tomorrow and next week I'll show you how to do this. In fact, we don't even need that homework for like 2 months or more. So we don't need to worry about that yet. I'll have it all set up and ready to go by the time we need the Math for Meds homework. But is there anyone who purchased two different codes through the bookstore that that have almost the same name? Each one was like $125. Did any of you purchase two of them? If so, let me know, because I'm going to, okay, Grisha, stick around. I'll talk to you at the end of class, and we'll figure out, we'll fix that for you. I don't know how they got two in there. They have this interface where we're supposed to put the textbooks in there, but there's just, there's a history of it not always going well. And the first time you set up a class, the way the bookstores have done this now, or the publishers, you'd think it's easy, right? You've got a book, the online code, and there's an ISBN number. But what they do now is they make like 7 versions of each textbook, not editions, like versions. So the 13th edition will have like 5 versions, and you're like the ISBN numbers don't match up. So the first time you do it, getting them perfect is difficult. So anyone who purchased 2 of those codes, I'll talk to you after class and tell you what to do, because we'll get it squared away for you. We'll get it figured out, but don't open both of them yet, and so you can return one of them and then stick around. Okay, so that's good. It looks like only one person went that route, as far as I can tell. So we'll get you taken care of. So I will add more information on here probably this week, but like I say, we're not even going to be doing this homework for like 2.5 months. Probably 2 months, give or take a little bit, right? So we're not in a huge rush to get this taken care of. If you're wondering about the bookstore, I would almost just say wait, because you'll be able to purchase it directly through the online homework, and sometimes it's even cheaper than the bookstore. It's never more. It never costs you more to buy directly through the Cengage account, but sometimes the bookstore does charge you more, and I've seen it be significantly more. So okay, so there's a question. Do we need a physical textbook? You do not need the physical textbook. It's helpful, and it might be good as a reference, just since it's part of your career, that you might at some point, once you haven't done this for a while, you might want to look back and remind yourself how to do it. But you don't need a physical textbook. What you need is the online license to do the homework, which usually comes with an electronic version of the textbook. But they usually make that electronic version a little hard to navigate. I think they do it on purpose so that people want to also buy the physical book. But I don't require you to have the physical book, because you have access to the online version at the same time. Cengage is the company that makes all these books. I'll tell you the exact information here in just a minute for the book. What you could do, if you're someone who's like, well, I'm comfortable with a physical book, which I think is actually a great idea, you can get an older edition. Usually those older editions, I've literally seen students get old editions of books for $5. Probably plus shipping, but like $5 is pretty good. If you're taking a class and you're like, I really find it convenient to have a book, $5 is hard to beat. So if you like, I think the current edition we're going to use of Math for Meds is edition 11. If you find the 10th edition online for like $15, if it was me, I would do it. I think it's extremely valuable to have access to the textbook in a math class. I know a lot of, believe me, I know. I waited tables to get through school. I get it. Like when you're in college, every dollar counts, right? So if you can save yourself $15 here, sometimes that's a good idea. But when it comes to math classes, that textbook may save you hours and hours of work, because you can just quickly find the thing you're looking for. And at that point, hours of work is probably worth $15 or something like that. Let me just double check that I'm not exposing any information here when I show this. So the book is called, the book that we will be using. Oh, yep. See, I gotta fix something already. It's called Math for Meds, Dosages and Solutions, and it's by Curren, Curren. It's the 11th edition. So the 11th edition by Curren, Curren, called Math for Meds, Dosages and Solutions with WebAssign. It's what I actually need you to buy is it's called an electronic product. It's actually the license to do the homework for this book online. It will give you access to the electronic version of the textbook. But so that's the thing. Math for Meds, Dosages and Solutions for WebAssign by Curren, 11th edition. Cengage is the publisher. Okay. So if you find it, if you want to buy the 11th edition, be my guest. But and I'm not familiar with the editions of these texts and how much they change from one. So the 11th edition would be the most helpful, but sometimes the editions don't change much. So if you just wanted to keep it around so that 2 years from now you could remind yourself, how do I do dosages again? And you want to find a cheap 10th edition, I would think that would probably be okay as well, right? Because you'll still have access to the 11th edition for this class through the electronic version that you'll have access to, okay? So if anyone has questions about that, feel free to let me know. Okay, it is kind of expensive. It says it's $112 here in the bookstore. I don't know what it's going to be if you buy it directly through Cengage. It might be $112. It might be less, right? Usually buying it directly saves you. I've seen sometimes where it saves you like $2. I've seen sometimes where it saves $10. I've seen it save like $40 or $50. So it just depends. But like I say, we won't be doing that for a couple months. So I would actually advise for this part, just wait till I get it all squared away and figured out with the bookstore, because something went wrong somewhere. I don't know if it was my fault or if it was their fault, but something went wrong. Anyone who purchased stuff will get you taken care of, so don't panic, okay? Right. Okay, so that's with that. So that's how the homework's going to go. Like I say, the Delta Math is free. Do try to sign up. So that way, if you're having issues, I can help you figure that out rather than waiting another week. As far as browsers go, I haven't used WebAssign. I haven't used Cengage products for a while. So I've used them before. I've used WebAssign before, but it was years ago. Most of our products we've been using lately are Pearson. But for this class, it's kind of a specialized class, so we use the Cengage product. What I will say is these homework platforms don't always work on your phone. So if you're trying to do this from your phone, it may not work. You may have to get on like a legitimate browser on a computer. And what I have found, my experience with the online homeworks, is that if you're using an operating system's default browser, a lot of times the homework platforms fail. So that would be Safari for Mac. And that would be, do they call it Edge now? It used to be called Explorer, but I think they call it Edge now for Windows. I mean, in general, don't really use those browsers anyways. They're not great. But especially for the homework, they sometimes have trouble with those homework platforms. That's one of the first things I have people do when they come to my class, and they'll have like a brand new Mac on their lap or something, and they're like, I can't get the homework to work right. Okay, first thing, download Firefox, see if it works, and they go, oh, yep, that fixed it. Everything's good now. So that's the first thing I would try if you are having trouble with any of these homework platforms, is try it from an actual computer, not a phone, and then try either Firefox or Chrome. And I'm a Chrome guy, but I have to say Firefox usually works better with the homework platforms, right? I hate to admit it, but it does mess up less often with these homework platforms. So that's like the first thing to try if one of these things isn't working right. I think Delta Math might even work on your phone, but if it isn't, try that. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So feel free to open that. Just be aware, don't sign up yet for the Cengage stuff, because I think I have to change some stuff. So if you sign up now, just don't. Just give me a week at least to set that up, because like I say, we don't need it yet anyways. But I think I have something not lined up right. So I don't want you to waste a code or something like that. So yeah, we'll get that taken care of. Okay. So is there any more questions about the book or homework or anything like that? I'll fill you in as we go. I'll give you more guidance about the where you should be. Other than that, you're basically going. Let me bring this back because I don't think we have anything. Sometimes I'll move this because I don't want to accidentally expose emails or something like that. So I'll move the screen there. You're basically going to start at the top and we're going to work down. So see how these have green checks? That means you'll see them in your Canvas. But these down here, these I haven't released to you yet. So if it looks like there's not much there, that's because I haven't released it all. I'm still working on putting some of the class together. I will have it together before you get to that point. So this is here because most of you are going to spend a couple weeks working on this. And then before we get to systems of equations, I'll have this all ready to go. In fact, it's pretty much ready to go, I think, at this point. I've already got the videos and stuff in here for you. So I probably could release it right now, but I just don't want to like overwhelm you with too much stuff. I want to like keep it focused on what you should be working on. So, we're going to get into some stuff, quadratic equations. Many of you seen that before. We are going to do logarithms towards the end of the course. Logarithms come up in chemistry a lot. And, chemistry, is an important subject when it comes to medications and that kind of stuff. So those concepts will be important. And then we switch over. Then we start talking about units of measure for dosage calculations. That's when we switch to this other homework platform that some of you have purchased. So that's why we have some time before we get there. We've got a couple months, right? So I can make sure I have it all right and ready to go. Oh, let's see. Someone wants to know if I got them. Yep, Brian, I got you. You're good. Okay. So don't panic about that second textbook yet. Oh, I've got something. I think this happened when I imported the homework. I'll have to go through and fix that. Okay. Anyways, so that's kind of how that's going to work. You'll be doing work inside of here. And then one thing that I have to add, we have to add. Oh, okay. Here's a question. Is renting a physical copy of the book from Amazon a viable option? Yeah. So that's perfectly fine. If you like, you still need the access code for the homework, but if you also want a physical copy of the book, and I'm not exaggerating, I've seen students rent books for an entire semester for like single digits, like $5, $6, $7, $9. I've seen that before. Now, my understanding, the way it works on Amazon is those are like the early ones. Like you'll hear me talk about procrastination a lot in this class, because I think that's a huge portion of what holds students back in general is procrastinating. I've seen students in week 1 get a rental for a textbook for like $5 to $12. I see that all the time. But then those books obviously go very quickly. And then the students that are renting them in like week 2 or 3, they're like, wait, you got it for $12? I'm paying like $60 for the rental. So it's one of those, it's kind of the first time you hear it, but you'll hear it more and more. Like, if you don't procrastinate, a lot of times it really helps you be more successful. So yes, feel free to rent the physical copy from Amazon if you think that's helpful. I would do it sooner because you'll probably pay less. If the sooner you do it, you're probably going to pay less than waiting. I've literally had students in my class like, what? How did you get it for $9? I'm paying like $50. So, would you rather pay $9 or $50, right? All you have to do is do it a little bit earlier. And I don't know what the prices are for this class. This class is, well, that was a specialized book too. So I don't know. I'm not aware of what the options are on Amazon right now, but yeah, that's a good way to do it. Okay, so we'll work through the material. We've got if I need to make announcements on here, I will. It's a good idea for students to be here for the actual class sessions. I'm going to be covering stuff, but also you can ask me questions. Feel free to send me a question before the class, right? Sometimes I'll get the same question from like 3 students, and I'll go, okay, I better cover this in class, because if 3 students are asking me this question, probably the whole class needs to see it. And then I can get it all prepared. Like, it's fine if you ask me questions during class, but then I'm less prepared to show you that problem, because it's not just me answering the question, it's being able to show you the homework problem. So I have to get it ready and have it up in a screen, and then figure out what students are doing wrong so that I can explain the right way to do it and all that kind of stuff. So feel free to email me ahead of time with a question, and I can get it all prepared and nicely ready to present to you. Yeah, it looks like people are finding the book for rent pretty cheap on Amazon, so don't be afraid to jump on that. Just make sure at some point you're also going to buy that electronic version, but I will fill you in on the details for that later. Okay. Oh, yeah, and so I wouldn't, if you're going to rent a physical copy, I wouldn't wait 2 months, because it's going to cost more. So you could rent that physical copy now and have it, and then buy the license later when we get to that point in the course. Okay. All right, let's go back to the syllabus. What do we got? Are there any questions that people have? Anything I haven't covered or talked about that people want to know about? So feel free to throw them into chat, and then I'll answer them if questions are popping up. Do be aware anything that happens as part of this course is considered on campus. So even if you say something, I don't think I talked about this yet, even if you say something in the YouTube chat, you go, that wasn't in class, that was on YouTube, that's considered part of the class, and it has to adhere to the policies of the school, right? So school policies have to be followed on the YouTube stream, on the Zoom stream, whatever it is that we're doing. Oh, right, I was going to mention that. There's going to be discussions that pop up on the... I haven't put them in here yet, and I'll tell you as we get them. But like at the end of chapter 1, I'm probably going to put a discussion in there. That's something we're required to do for accreditation. So in our online classes, I have to put discussion boards up here for you to all give some feedback and leave a post and stuff like that. So about once per module, these groupings, I'll put something in there that you can you'll discuss something. It will be some type of discussion. Go in there, you'll get points. Just make it a meaningful comment, and I'll give you more details when we get there. But a comment that would get no points would be something like, "Oh, good comment," or "I agree with you," or something like that. Like if it's a comment that if we deleted it wouldn't really change the discussion, then you won't get points for that. But if you put something meaningful in there, like let's say it's a conversation about how are you using technology to help you complete this online course, right? I'm just making this up, but it's like, if you just go in there and someone else leaves a comment and you say, "Oh, good comment," then you didn't really make it any better, right? But if you go in there and you say, "Oh, I do this part of the homework on my phone, and then when I'm at home, I watch the videos on my computer," and and you're actually like giving some kind of information that is interesting and helpful, then you can get full credit, right? But if it's not meaningful, if it's if you're kind of giving a good comment or you're just trying to kind of cheese through it, you'll either get credit or you won't. Okay, so we got a few things coming in here. Let's see. So people want to know about working ahead. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with working ahead if you're doing well. The only thing would be sometimes students work ahead and then they get kind of stuck, but that's okay. It's like then you'll just wait till I catch up to you, and then you'll go, "Oh, I see what's going on." But working ahead is perfectly fine. Do you know how much is the license will be? I don't. So the bookstore is selling the license for I think $112.50. I don't. When I give you at the later date, when I give you the link to buy it directly through Cengage, I don't imagine it would be more than that, but it is possible that it will be less. Will it be half? Probably not, but it might. So my guess would be somewhere between, it might be $80, it might be $112.50. I'm not sure yet. I'm still kind of putting that together, but I would guess somewhere in the neighborhood of $100, give or take, $10, $12, something like that is probably about what it'll cost. What will the due dates look like? Good question. So especially here in the beginning, I will be extra generous with due dates because everyone's kind of figuring everything out. You got to figure out how to sign up for Delta Math. You got to, we're kind of putting everything together. So I give you a little bit of extra time on these early assignments, but I'm still pretty generous with my due dates because I know that it's hard, right? I know that some of you have kids. I know that some of you have parents that you're taking care of. I know nearly all of you have jobs. And then being in a nursing program, those schedules can be rough as well. So I know that sometimes it's some teachers will give you 1 or 2 days to do a homework assignment. I find that what I'm constantly doing at that point is giving extensions to people, which just takes a ton of my time and isn't really an effective use of helping people, right? So what I try to do is give you a little bit of time, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, depending on, so you can do that homework when it works for you. But what that does mean is you have to be disciplined, right? And I suspect that most of you that are in the nursing program probably pretty good with discipline. You'd probably be okay with that. Don't wait until due dates to do the assignment. That's going to bite you. So, like I mentioned procrastination a little earlier, you'll hear me going back to it. If an assignment is due on the 15th, you shouldn't be working on it on the 15th. You probably should try to have it done at least a few days before that. Where you should be in the homework is roughly where we are in class. So if I talk one day about, compound inequalities, that's about the time you should do that homework. You might have another week to do that homework, but don't wait. Don't procrastinate, right? You will be amazed if you convert yourself from someone who's a procrastinator and you do things at the last minute to someone who does them early. You'll be amazed how much farther you finish ahead of everyone else, right? Just by doing things a little bit earlier. Instead of saying, I can watch TV tonight, I'm going to wait on this assignment. Just do the assignment, and you'll be amazed. You'll sit there and you'll watch all these other people that are panicking because they waited till the last minute and they're stressed out. Their work isn't as good because they're doing it at the last minute and they're panicking. Like, you can avoid all that. Just do it a couple days earlier. You won't be stressed. Your work will be better because you're not trying to do it under the gun and go, I only have 12 minutes to finish this assignment. You can just do it at the pace that works for you, and you'll be surprised how much better off the quality of your work is, right? So I'm generous with the due dates, but I encourage you to work ahead of the due dates, right? Someone else asked about like working ahead. You don't necessarily have to work ahead of the class, but I would recommend that you're finishing things before the due date. That you'll find that you're more successful in the course if you do that. I do give it. I'll have to remember how to do it in the Cengage product, but for the Delta Math, most of the assignments will be set up that you can do them after the due date for half credit, which is nice to get that done, but there's no, sorry, I got distracted. I was trying to read stuff while I'm talking. You get half credit. So that's fine, but obviously you don't want to collect too much half credit because 50% is failing, right? So 50% are better than 0%, but 100% and 90% are way better than 50%, right? You don't want to be setting yourself up to get an F by collecting 50%, but it's there if you need it, right? If you need to do something a little bit late. There's a question about Martin Luther King Day, so let's check that out. I believe we have the day off. But here's a great resource that all students should be aware of. So if you go to the main Ventura College webpage, right up here it says Academic Calendar. If you click that, and you go down and look at the calendar, they've got last semester's final exam schedule, but they don't have the new one up yet. In a month or two, they'll have that up. They used to always get them out before the semester started, but they don't have them out. One thing I recommend for students, like I'm kind of giving you these tips, but this is what successful students do. You should print out at the beginning of the semester the instructional calendar, and as soon as it's published, print the final schedule. I've had students where they'll have like a binder for the class, and some binders have like a sleeve where you can put stuff in front. They'll put that class calendar right in front, and it's super helpful because they don't mess up any dates because they know when anything is. So if we look at the instructional calendar, it looks like the 17th is a holiday. Okay, January 17th is a holiday. So you can see that there, okay? So that's why if you print this out and keep it handy, you'll just kind of know. Like this happens every year when I'm teaching an on-ground course where we'll have a holiday and someone won't know when they show up to class and they're like, when we meet again, they'll come to me and they'll be like, I showed up on Monday and nobody was on campus. All the doors were locked and nobody was here. Yeah, because it was a holiday. So you can save yourself the morning of not accidentally going to school by printing these out. I highly recommend it. You don't have to print it in color, but if you just print it out even in black and white, really helpful to have that information. Right, okay, so we got that. So we talked about the holiday. Good question. I'm trying to think of all the things that come up. Make sure I've talked about them. Right. We're likely to have 2 exams this semester, so you can expect an exam when we do the algebra portion. So once we've wrapped up the algebra portion, we'll have an exam at the end of that. And then we'll have an exam at the end of the semester for the dosages and that kind of stuff. So you'll have an exam for each one. The second one will be your final exam. The first one will just be on the first half of class, the algebra portion. You will have the ability to retake that first test. Okay, so if you do really poorly on that first exam, you can retake it and try to get a better grade. It will be not the same exact test, but it will be similar stuff. So, you know, you mess up your systems of equations and you get a bad grade on the test, spend another week learning systems of equations, come back, you take version 2 of the exam and hopefully get a better grade on that one, okay? The final exam we can't do a retake on because it's the end of the semester is over. Once you take that test, the class is over. So there's no retake on that one. Okay. Did anyone come late to the meeting whose name I need to know so I can put you down in the roll? If so, make sure you let me know. Everyone else, I'm pretty sure we got. If you put your name in chat and stuff. But if you came late after we talked about roll, let me know. Okay. So again, they want us limiting these Zoom meetings to 90 minutes. So we're gonna, and then I'll get clarification if they mean for online classes as well. Let's see. Allie S. Oh, I got you. Okay. I got you, Allie, in the already. So you're good. So normally how I end class will be the following is so we'll kind of do an example here. I shut down the YouTube stream, and then if you want to talk to me, hop over into the Zoom meeting, and if you have a question, I can try to answer questions for you. I'm a little bit limited on time at the end, towards the end of class, but I can always help you remember before class because it's actually office hours. So if you ever want to show up early, I can help you. But especially today, if there's any questions, and then that one student, who was it? I think it was Grisha. And you can let me know, Grisha, if I'm saying your name incorrectly. You can help me pronounce it. But Grisha, if you could stick around, and hopefully no one else bought the two licenses from the bookstore. If you did that, stick around too, and I can talk to you about that. But for everyone else, I would say just skip the bookstore for now, and then I'll get you the correct information about the right thing, and then you can decide if you want the physical book or if you want to rent it or what you want to do about all that. Okay, so I'm going to shut down the YouTube stream. I will remain here in Zoom and try to help people out. Right, so there's a kind of someone came late. There's a question here. If you came late, did I get your name here? Yeah, I got you. So you do not have to have a physical version of the textbook. You will get an electronic version when you buy the homework license. But some people think it's a good idea. They're comforted by having a physical textbook. And in any math class, I recommend you have one. So you can either rent it, you can get a 10th edition, cheap, whatever it is that you want to do. But the thing that's required for the course is the online homework license, which I'll tell you about coming up. We don't need it for about 2 months, but I'll let you know so you can buy it, and hopefully cheaper than the bookstore. Yeah, I'll start putting homework up this week, but none of it will be due before the next time we meet. So you'll when electronic homework is up, you can always check the due date. Right? So sometimes students will email me and they'll say when is this homework assignment due? But any of these online platforms, when there's a homework assignment, it tells you when it's due. So, and I won't have anything due before, actually we don't meet next Monday, do we? Okay, so I can't wait 2 weeks to have anything due. There will be some stuff in the meantime. Well, I don't know. I'll have to see how that works. But take a look. I'm not going to have a ton of stuff for you to do between now and the next time we meet, but we also don't want to take forever. We have to kind of move along. So it's kind of inconvenient, actually, that we get the that holiday is kind of an inconveniently placed. Yeah, oh, right. So I have these videos in here. Almost all of these videos are me showing you how to do stuff. So you can look at stuff. They're short videos. They're like, a lot of them are like 2 minutes. So it might seem like, man, like there's one part where there's like, I don't know, 15 videos or something. But again, most of them are like 2 minutes. So it's not that bad. So yeah, you can start watching those videos and go through them. Okay, and then so Holly, you can stick around as I let everyone go. You can stick around and I can help you figure out about your name as well, because I'm getting a few questions here. So Holly and Grisha, stick around. Anyone else who has questions for me, stick around in Zoom as well. Otherwise, thanks everybody. I will give you updated information on the website, and I think this early algebra, most of you won't really need too much guidance on it because there is videos in here. Maybe the rational equations, we'll probably talk about some of that, but there's definitely stuff in here that you can do probably before we meet again by just using the videos. And you don't have anything to submit this week. I probably will have some stuff due next week, which is, unfortunately, we don't meet Monday, but there will be some stuff due next week. Okay? But I'll make it clear on the website. I'll put up an announcement or something letting everyone know what's going on. And if you have questions or concerns, come to office hours and talk to me about it. Okay? All right. So closing the YouTube stream. Thanks,